All right, I'll be short. A really disappointing game tonight, both sides of the ball. We really talked about how important the start was, and to find ourselves in that big a hole right away just set the tone. Their physicality bothered us in the first half. I thought we responded. That second unit moved the ball better and cut better, and we were more aggressive getting into the paint. We, with the exception of that last minute, probably would have won the second half as a moral victory for them to make them feel a little bit better. But they just right now are really, really struggling with physicality, and everyone's seeing it on film, and that's what we're getting every night from every team. And as much as the physicality is being allowed in this league, we've got to make the adjustment. We have got to be able to handle the physicality. I gotta go do my job and help them, but right now we're getting out toughed, and it's a young team that gets on their heels in a hurry when they're out toughed.
Edwin.
Yeah, Coach, you already mentioned that the slow start, it took about 3 minutes to even get a point in for the Sparks tonight. And there have been a few other games where there have been some scoring droughts that kind of turned the tide when things were more in a 50-50 scenario. What does the team have to do to kind of get out of that funk and just kind of get some easy baskets, especially early on in this contest?
Well, it's hard when, you shoot 20%. I think we had one player shoot over 25%. One player shoot over 25% tonight. So it's a make or miss league. You've got to make some plays, but we've got to get separation in our screening. And the physicality is blowing up all our off-ball screens, on-ball screens, and we're not getting any separation to go back and attack people.
John.
Coach, when you're down 28 points, it almost seems like, almost irregardless of what you do, like you just can't come back. So how do you help your team just not get down by that many points, just period? And then, when it is the 11 or the 15, something that's, a bit more insurmountable, like how do you, get them to, like you say, like play tough when, you just don't have the practice time? Like how do you do it?
Yeah, we talked in the locker room just now that we don't have time to fix things. Like we've got to be able to fix things in games in this type of season, and that's really difficult during a build. But again, at one point you looked up and you were down 14 or 12 points, and you had shot less than 25% for the game, and so you're like, if we could just string some shots together and get it to single digits. But again, that's a frustrating game on both sides of the ball.
Michael.
Coaches, what's the psyche of the team right now? Like they did fight their way back there in the fourth quarter, but you did see some players with their heads down off of small mistakes that they made. What's the psyche of the team?
Yeah, I think they're disappointed. I think they know they're not playing to the level that they hold themselves accountable or where we want to go. So they're disappointed, but not discouraged. They believe that these things can be corrected, but they've got to throw the first punch, and we've got to eliminate the slow first quarters.
Great.
And Coach Fredo here with the Sporting Tribune. You've now lost 7 out of your first 9 games this season. What do you want to get more out of your team right now? Of course, whether it's Cameron Brink, whether it's Kia Nurse, or possibly Lexi.
Well, I mean, we don't have to go down the roster individually. We just have to be. I would like us to be more competitive and put ourselves in position to, steal wins here and there. At this moment, we're digging ourselves first half a hole. So the wins and losses are taken care of. And so we're just trying to get better right now and continue to keep building.
Hey, Coach, Jackie Ray TV. You talked about the physicality of the game. When you're trying to get the team over that hump, is it just the physical, or is it also a mental toughness that you need them to get?
Yeah, certainly there's, toughness takes on both components. And again, this is a really young team with a lot of new pieces that, are at times overwhelmed by this physicality and the tempo. The one thing that's really impressive with Minnesota right now is their tempo. They're just flying in and out of actions, and isn't, like, the nuances of it is funny, right? We're running very, very similar plays. But when you watch them run it and you watch us run the exact same buckets of plays, it just looks different. The physicality in the screening, the approach of coming off of screens. And so we're a copycat league in terms of offenses. And so we all run similar things, but you can see the difference in how people are executing. So we'll get better.
Coach Eric Lankus, the second Culver City Observer. Throughout the season, Lexi and Leisure have discussed ad nauseum about the salience of the point guard position in this offense. How do you envision the position being played, and of the countless players that you coached, who most aligns with your vision at that position?
Leisure brings a toughness and a physicality. Ari, our other true point guard, is kind of a counter to Leisure, who's more physical and hostage dribbler, and keeps people on her back, where Ari's going to be more up tempo and downhill. So we have different styles of 2 point guards. Then a lot of our other guards are truly off guards, that at times have to play as a 3rd string emergency point guard, or when you have injuries, Ari's nursing an ankle injury and Leisure's just back from a weak concussion. So then those off guards are completely different looks at the point guard position. So, it's a work in progress at that position, and but Ari and Leisure give us different looks and can both be effective in what we're trying to do.
Final 2 questions, Jude.
Hey, Coach, Judo Kanyas, Annenberg Media. Cameron Brink has had 5 games now with 5+ fouls. How are you as a coach trying to teach defensive principles when it comes to being smarter with their hands on the defensive side?
Yeah, it's the hard part of having an elite shot blocker is you've got to give her the confidence to hunt some of those opportunities and help side, but challenging her through film and teaching and learning. This is not anything new. She battled this in college also, on when maybe you have to let a play go, or when that you're just a little bit late, you're not going to be able to affect that shot, to play more minutes, because sometimes one less foul could accumulate 8 to 10 more minutes for us on the court, and her presence is really important that way. So it's a maturation. She's heard it from, a lot of Hall of Fame coaches throughout her career, and you just got to keep showing it to her. And, she's a really, really impactful defender if she can cut out a foul here or there.
Last question, Anwar in the back.
Coach, you have another tough physical team rematch with Dallas coming up. I mean, how specifically do you plan to counter their physicality?
Yeah, different, like every team is a little bit different. Obviously, Minnesota is defined by their sharing of the basketball and their movement and their tempo in and out of things. Obviously, Dallas's focal point is Enrique and a lot of actions, but then they have a gigantic roster with Tierra McCowan and Kalani Brown and Soares and now Mo Billings. They have a lot of size around the rim. So sometimes with outside of Enrique, their best offense sometimes is on the offensive glass. So, it'd be real big point of emphasis on how well we rebound against Dallas on Friday.
You, Coach.